we're live for the Mayor's Update.
And we are at Caps Off again this week, but we have just spent like an hour and a half after 5 at Disbro.
It was fantastic. About 100-year anniversary for that company.
A business in business for 100 years in the city of St. Thomas. Certainly in a couple of different places and with a family's worth of ownerships. But, the mayor gets pretty proud when there's a business that's been around 100 years that is that involved in the community as Disbro, Pontiac, Buick, Cadillac, GMC is.
And Paul, the CEO of the chamber, was there. He also used to be the CEO of the hospital foundation. He was saying how much they gave to the foundation.
That's right. Now, Disbro's been a great community provider for just about anybody who came and asked. And so it's great to be both a customer of Disbro, because I know how they are at customer service, and I just love customer service. But more as the mayor to see a company that's been around for 100 years. So Karen and your team and your family and Carl, your dad, right? What an incredible group of generations it has been in the business at Disbro. Can't be better than that in St. Thomas. Happy to have been able to be there as the mayor today.
And the prizes they had. They had like 100 prizes
what a
to give
business
away.
after 5. And I saw a couple of comments saying I wasn't invited. Well, if you're a member of the chamber, you get invited to all the great events in town. And
it's a great deal. The membership is very affordable for what you get out of it. The business connections you make, the friends you make, it's even more valuable.
And even if you're not a chamber, a business, in order to be involved in the chamber that way, you can be a personal member of the chamber or find a business that is a member, and they'll invite you as their guest to any of the business events, especially the business after 5.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Right?
All right.
By the way, Caps Off, thank you.
Caps Off. Cheers to them. Another great business in our community.
Right. What do we got going on?
So many events.
This is a busy month, a busy week, and next week, the show on Wednesday night next week is after 3 days of the Associated Municipalities of Ontario in London. So we're all driving over every day. But I have Councillor Wookie and Councillor Macaulay here next Wednesday night to talk about what ministers we saw at AMO, what the city of St. Thomas accomplished. So that's next week. We'll get to that. But a lot of events. How about the 45th annual Elgin Historical Show at Dan Patterson?
Pretty incredible.
On the August 19th and 20th, so this weekend, right? 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. each of those 2 days. The historical part of agriculture in our community and other things too, but certainly about an agricultural community that St. Thomas has been. So at Dan Patterson, please go, especially if you are an urbanite, right? This is your chance to take your children and go show them what agriculture looked like 45 years ago or 100 years ago. But this is the 45th historical show. I almost keep saying hysterical, and it's not right. It's the historical show.
Well, you know, where I was last weekend was the Elmer Fair. 175 years
that the Elmer Fair has been going on. Well, it was in 175 years ago. It was at the prime of harvest time, but it gave you a break for the work you'd been doing on harvesting at your farm and getting into town. Well, I remember working for my grandfather at a young age in Dewar, which is in Kent County. But his reward to us often was to go to the Rodney Fair. Right? Because it was right across the border in Elgin County. And so I just remember when I became the MP of Elgin County, I got at the Rodney Fair and I kind of walked around in awe. I said, I remember this, but it used to be so much bigger because I had grown. Right? It was fun. But those county fairs, municipal fairs, just fun to be at. And I've been streaming through your pictures from the Elmer Fair.
It's just incredible. And all the cows, like the Holstein show, the 4-H cattle show, like it was incredible to see the number of cows and the number of people that are still participating in this so many years later.
Agreed. And I saw Mayor Cookett hugging a cow.
Yes.
And so way to go, way to get a picture of I was going to caption it something different, but Jack's a friend, so I didn't.
He almost ran me over the other day in Elmer.
Oh, that's just driving in Elmer.
Yeah.
He figured, what else we got going on? Music in the park this Sunday, as we've been doing music every Sunday in the park, and this Sunday at 6 o'clock, John Millis. And you can sing along. I was just singing along with John
because he was at the 100-year anniversary.
That's right.
For Disbro.
And I know the words to all the song. I think my older sister taught me all the words. Yeah. So that's it. But head on out 6 o'clock on Sunday and spend some time smiling. with music. Right?
And a reminder, this is your chance, folks. We're live. Ask us any questions about the city,
Please.
anything you want to know. Let us know. If there's something going on, something we should know about, let us know. If there's an event that's happening that we haven't talked about, mention in the comments. We'll bring it up on the show.
Right. And also, tell your friends that you're watching Mayor's Update. So they may want to tune in now, or at least look at Mayor's Update at some later date. So they have it. But we leave these all online so that we can all see them later.
Yeah.
And any questions you have, we'll answer tonight, or if we can't, we'll go back and get them. But please, don't. This is your show. It's a forum with the mayor to ask questions about what's going on in the city. And so I get them all day long. So I wait for them on Wednesday night. I've given up answering some of them, Grayden, just to say, hey, tune in to Mayor's Update and ask that question.
Well, you can only answer the same question so many times online before you're not using your time efficiently anymore.
Right. Well, and you've seen that I've done that a little bit on St.Thomas Happenings, where the same question gets asked over and over, and 5 times later somebody asks the same question. So I simply put in, come on and watch Mayor's Update and ask the questions there. Grayden and I also like to tell you about all of the neat things happening in our community in the next couple of weeks. And so until we get questions, we'll keep sharing events that are going on. So the Arts and Music Festival is also this weekend.
Great event.
Right?
Former Iron Horse Festival.
Former Iron Horse. And it's now a one-day event of arts and music and at Pinafore Park.
It's free.
Right? It's free.
It's
and
free.
11
you can just
to 11.
go.
Right.
It's going to be incredible musical acts all throughout the day.
Yeah.
Into the evening. They're going to blow your socks off.
No, it's great. And actual know and actual love, even if you don't know. There's some really great things happening at Pinafore Park. Right, that's the 19th. On August 17th, so that's tomorrow. So for those of you that can help, please from 10 to 6 at the Real Canadian Superstore, My FM and Elgin Roofing are doing an all hands on deck food drive. We know that the police have been doing Stuff the Cruiser this coming weekend too, but please get out and help our food banks. This time of year at the going back to school piece, we really do need the help that you can offer. So that's a great thing for you to do. Please. I've got a couple of other, how about a reminder of Dancing with the Stars?
Look at the glow on that poster, Joe.
Yeah, no, it's great. This is the one about Joe and Stephanie, I think. No, I'm just kidding. All right. But
I love
Joe and Stephanie, Grayden and Jess are both all contestants this year, eight couples total, right, on September 8th. There is like 300 seats available at the Elgin Railway Museum, and we'd love to fill the place, and we think we're getting close, but I want you to get your tickets so you're out there to help us, please.
It's going to be epic.
Yes. Oh, no. Wait, Joe dancing? Yeah, you've never seen Rhythm, because he hasn't. Right. Back to school with the Salvation Army. Also, please help out the Salvation Army. You can donate at the Salvation Army on Elm Street or at the Salvation Army store on First Ave.
First Ave, right by Disbro.
Right,
across
right near where we were.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, this is a fun one coming up.
Yes.
Colors
I can't wait
in the
to go
City.
this.
We're going to do a little bit of video about this tomorrow too, but Colors in the City by the Indian cultural groups. If you were at Colors in Port Stanley, you know what we're talking about. If you haven't been to one, you don't know what we're talking about, but it is more fun for you to get all different colors. So you show up, and there are colors to purchase, and you actually, and it's a fundraiser for, in our case, the hospital's MRI program. So great one. And you get so colorful with all these colors thrown at you or put on you. So that is on the 26th, right? From I think 1.
It's like 1 p.m. Yeah.
Well, 1 till 4:30. I think this one is. So please, we'll talk some more about it next week too. But excellent, good job.
Yep.
Oh, what else we got? Any questions come in yet?
Yeah, we had a question from a realtor.
Okay.
And he's asking a question that he's heard from several of his clients. He says, "Will there be any emissions from the VW plant?"
First off, I would say, almost nothing is zero, but no, this is a plant where we're trying to use only clean energy, only clean steel, a fair bit of solar, and the power we're getting that way. Also, the manufacturing of batteries is more the assembly of components into packages, into the containers for the battery. Look, there's a lot of water used in the system, and that water will be going to retention ponds and will be reused again. So that's another recovery piece. Look, I will ask again this week. I'm at an executive meeting with Volkswagen, and I'll ask, what do we think that will be? And on next week's show, we'll answer more conclusively. But everything I've seen so far is no, certainly to a far lesser degree than another manufacturing place, another manufacturer building.
Well, I heard with the Ford plant, they had painting going on, and so that was something where you could smell the painting happening in the Ford plant. But in this case, they're not painting the batteries.
No.
So I don't know.
No. The batteries all get put into aluminum beds or pans, they call them, and that is what goes into a car. But those are all those format makes some of those. So whether those would be the ones used by Volkswagen or not, but coming to that facility in parts, in the ingredients for batteries, and then being assembled there, and out the batteries would go. So at this moment, that's the answer.
Very good. All right. So council, you guys had a council meeting.
Our August council meeting.
Always exciting, riveting information.
Well, there is some riveting, but I'll get through the unriveting first.
Perfect.
All right. We had a public meeting in the middle of our council meeting because in the middle of the summer we tend to do that. And this public meeting was, and there was a lot of questions from people not at the public meeting, but before the public meeting. Nobody ended up commenting on what we're changing. We have to change the zoning of the airport.
Okay.
To match now the new size of the city. So remember, we took in about 800 new acres from Central Elgin, right? And because of that, now our bylaw has to be that the flyover from the airport could pass that area. So we had to change the bylaw to read that the city goes out this far and comes down this far. So that's all that one was. Nothing. No real bylaw change. The bylaw stays the same, just the zone that it covers is different. Right?
Very good.
Lots of things happened at council, though, so let's just I'll cover some stuff. You get questions, you interrupt me.
Okay.
All right.
We want another question in from the same fellow.
Yep.
Will St. Thomas residents get any sort of EV purchase incentives from VW?
That would be up to VW. And I'm sure around the world they have purchase incentives now for some of their electric vehicles. I saw some real increases in the
China.
Sales. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So I believe the answer is yet, but the mayor, yes, but the mayor of St. Thomas doesn't get to hand out those incentives. Volkswagen will. So
well, if you can pressure for that, it was 16,700, I think, for an electric car in China. That's probably U.S. dollars, but if you can push for that in Canada.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. That model should sell for that everywhere around the world.
That would be incredible.
Let's find out. All right.
Because that's an affordable vehicle. Yep. And Tara McCauley's saying there's a free community meal at St. Thomas Anglican Church this Friday between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Doors open at 4:30 p.m.
Yes.
And it's always an amazing meal.
Yes, and I want to thank my friend Kathy Grondin and the Food Security Network, and I know Tara is a part of that, for all the work they do. And this is a very large meal happening at the St. Thomas Anglican Church. So thank you for reminding me, Tara. Here's some other stuff from council. The Ostrichik and Sons and Novi Construction. There's a parcel of land, kind of, if I can put this right, inside the Forest Ave, First Ave, Elm Street, and I guess Fairview, right? Inside the middle, there was a very large plot of property with houses all the way around it. And they've done their job of buying up this large parcel of land in the middle. It's called 21 Park Ave because that's where the address will come from on it. But 8 or 9 houses in the middle. It's an infill thing, and it's where we can find land sitting in the middle that is, and they accumulated the different pieces of ownership for it. And so now it'll be a neat little cul-de-sac community right in the middle of that. Right?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Great location.
Yes. There was conversation on Monday night about the Housing Accelerator Fund application to the federal government. The federal government has put together some funding for us to apply to, and the Housing Accelerator Fund is it. And with all the housing we're trying to do, certainly the supportive housing here in this community, we wanted to make sure we had an application into that fund. Purchase of a new fire department pumper.
Oh,
I think you and I talked about one a while ago. We had one that we thought, a used pumper that could be purchased, and so the council set aside $750,000 for us to go look at it and see if it was what we needed. When the fire chief and team went and looked at it, it was not near as new as they led us to believe, and it wasn't worth what they were asking for it. So we had set that money aside, knowing we'd still need a new pumper. In the meantime, we signed a deal with Volkswagen, which requires us to have a bigger pumper to not only handle them, but other areas of our industrial park. Plus, as our city grows, because of what we've done, so now we've gone and ordered a new pumper that is quite a good size and large, but is the same make as 5 of our other trucks in our fleet, and so that really helps us from a mechanical point of view, and so that was done. We're redoing the front of City Hall. We have there were some grass areas there, and they're becoming more gardens and more interlocking brick and concrete out front of City Hall. So then we've been holding a lot more events, right? Flag raisings and such. And so we're redesigning that. Watch for that. It'll be beautiful as part of the finishing of downtown.
Very cool.
A couple of different other parking things happened at council. There's some parking on Dalewood Drive that was too close to the stop sign. We backed it off. And there's a bunch of other parking around the community as to where a different sign should be and how to do it. The finalization of the federal electoral districts. We had been part of that conversation, and certainly Karen
What happened?
Well, we got exactly what Karen and the rest of us were asking for. And so we have a new, I believe the new riding is called South London St. Thomas. That's the name of the riding now. And it doesn't include Thames Centre, right? But it does include the south part of London still.
Okay.
So all of Elgin County stayed whole. St. Thomas stayed in that riding.
Because weren't they trying to do some weird thing?
Oh, yeah. It was a huge donut around London.
All the way around London. So we would have to represent like south of London and north of London.
So thank you, Karen, for all the hard work you did. And some of us that went and made presentations to say, this doesn't need to be done this bad. And they listened to what we wanted in our community. A couple more that happened to council. Big Brother, Big Sister Month. The proclamation will be happening on September 11th in front of City Hall. Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Day with Ethel de la Pelletier, who just is the champion for this cause. September 9th at 9:09. The bells will ring 9 times. This is really important. That's a great proclamation day. And I think that's all of the main things from council on Monday night.
Very good. We've got another event here. The Old Maid Sunday Market, which is happening on Sunday. There's 40 vendors. It's this Sunday, August 20th, 10 Manitoba Street, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
40 vendors.
40 vendors.
Big event.
Baked goods, cotton candy, pierogies, fresh flowers, beer, and coffee.
Okay, so many food things.
A lot of food things.
Can't really eat the fresh flowers, but I probably could.
Some of them you can.
It's available. Yeah, it's a salad.
Yeah.
But good work. 10 Manitoba Street, so near the Horton Market. Right?
It's the Horton Farmers Market Pavilions.
Okay, on Sunday.
On Sunday.
So if you're going to the market Saturday, go back on Sunday for some of the Old Maid Market.
Yep.
Okay,
excellent. Got it.
Perfect.
Should be a blast. Reminder again, if you guys have any questions, let us know what they are so we can answer them.
Happy to answer those that we can. If we can't, we'll put you off till next week, but we'll come back with an answer.
If we can find an answer, we'll provide it.
Right. Or we'll make one. No, we won't make one.
We'll
actually do it. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I like to say this show's called, my nickname for it is Buzzkill.
Yeah.
Because we're killing all the rumors.
Right.
So it's not quite as scandalous.
You got any? Yeah. Well, and that was it. I was just at business after 5, and of course I was asked 2 or 3 things, and I said, "That's absolutely. You just make that up." Or we're in a coffee shop, and a bunch of you made it up. What do you think it is?
No, there's so many things. Yeah. You're like, is that real? But it makes for a good story.
Absolutely.
It's just too bad it's not true.
Right. No, and you used to have a rumors show.
We did have a rumors, and then we would tell what all the rumors are, and then we'd quash them.
Right. Well, we can do that at Mayor's Update anytime you want about things going on in our community. There's just so many things going on with all the construction happening, all of the workout at the Volkswagen site. If you're not watching Beehive and Mike, my new cult hero.
So good.
All of the different things. This week's just out today, so please go look on the EDC site, on Established View. It's a lot of places. Go take a look. And this one is about how we're using drones for the overview of the site. And not just because we can see better up there, but you really can tell have you leveled the land enough? If you've taken enough dirt off one area and put it in another. The drones measure all of that
full
stuff
scans,
too. Yeah. And it also, from a drone view, lets you know where the water would flow on the site the way it currently looks. See, I listened to the show.
This is very good. You're very educated on this.
And so, because we also have to have the site that also drains itself into wastewater ponds or storm management ponds, whichever way we want to call them. And so the drones is an important part of this. Now, I know I've been droning on, and I stole my joke back from Mike right there. Right? But there is a really good part as to why those drones need to be there.
Absolutely. Right? And in terms of roads in St. Thomas, I heard there was some kind of a bylaw passed about no U-turns.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is, past the council, you can no longer make a U-turn. Yeah, and we're not going back on that. Sorry, it's a joke. It's a joke. I stole it today from Municipal World. I thought it was the best. Hey, past it council on Monday night was no U-turns. Yeah, and we're not going back on that.
Another question in. Are there any plans for intercity transportation between London and St. Thomas or possible expansion of passenger rail service?
Not passenger rail service at the moment, although we continue to work with CN. They have full rights to what used to be the LMPS line into London. The problem is it hits London in a weird spot, so us trying to use it as a commuter rail, still up in the air. We still will, hey, if that's what we get, that's what we get. We'll be happy to push for it. But we continue to work. I spoke with Josh Morgan, the Mayor of London, yesterday, and we talked again about our meeting with next week at AMO about how we can accomplish bus transportation. Neither of our cities can afford to take on the loss that there might be on this to the taxpayers, because it isn't for
cities never make money on transport.
Right,
transport is always a losing business proposition.
Right. And we're saying we think that transport from London to St. Thomas, done properly with small buses and with greater frequency, could pay for itself. And on paper, we've kind of showed where that can happen. But we need this province to backstop that expense just in case, because London's taxpayers don't want to take on so that our local factories can get more employees, and nor does St. Thomas want to take it on until it's enough of a benefit to the population of St. Thomas, the whole population of St. Thomas, and not just a few. So we're trying to get it to where the user pays enough to cover the service, and we're trying to design the service that way. But we are not successful yet. We'll see what next week brings.
Absolutely. And this has been over a 5-year process now?
It's been about 4 years that I've been working on it. Yes. Right. And now we have a new mayor in London, but Josh was there when I was working on it with Mayor Holder. And so I think we can do it. Right. I think from there, we would then see some spread benefits to the rest of Elgin County, maybe out to Elmer, maybe to Port Stanley, whatever else it might be. But we've got to get the London to St. Thomas. That's where the money is in the program. Get that first.
And I really think that one, like during the summer months at least, if you could get from London to Port Stanley on public transit, it could be
be lucrative for the people, for the businesses in Port Stanley. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Right. And it was tried a year before COVID, but it was a school bus operating, but it was tried. We know it's possible. Let's see what we can do.
Another question in from Scott Noseworthy. Can you tell us what is going on in the center of the new beautiful park beside the library, which is right beside us?
Yeah, there's a big hole in the center. There's going to be playground equipment or park equipment, and so it's been, as with a lot of things, a supply shortage or a supply delay, and we're waiting for it. The whole park is finished other than that, so glad you've noticed that the park is looking that good.
It's not going to be a swimming pool.
No, it is not a hot tub for the mayor just outside of City Hall.
It
is actually
handy though.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be pretty.
Let's not suggest it.
Table that for next year.
Right.
All right. Beth Douglas is asking, the new park there at the library looks great. I assume that the last unfinished part is for the playground equipment. Any idea when the timeline is for that? That we just covered.
As soon as it can get here, it will be put in. So that the answer is should have been now.
Right. Tara McCulley, I came on late, so I may have missed a shout out for MyFM's food drive tomorrow for the Caring Cupboard, another amazing event. You did. We talked about it. We can talk about it again.
All hands on deck food drive, and we know there's still the Stuff the Cruiser food drive and back to school drive with the police too. But the Maya Fam and Elgin Roofing at the Real Canadian Superstore tomorrow, 10 to 6. Thank you, Tara. I know you're working hard on all of these things, specifically the food part. So, thank you.
And then we have another question. Possible VW EV passenger buses to save costs?
Well, it could be, but right now we have to make those batteries, and they're 3 years away. And so
minimum.
Yeah, well, 2026 late or early 2027. So yes, at least minimum. But there are some electric vehicles being made at Camry right now. The Bright Drop vans, Bright Drop.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But they've been all bought up, and the sales are really aggressive on them. And nobody has made one of them into a bus yet.
Yeah.
Right. So the only electric buses we can find are full-size electric buses.
Right.
And for the planning we've done, we don't need full-size electric buses. And so we're waiting. We're trying. There's some in Europe. We're trying to find a Canadian manufacturer of them, and we'll use them too. The minute we can have, we actually have been given the money for the electric buses here in St. Thomas to use the minute we have them. But we've chosen not to go by the extra large size electric buses until such time as we can find the small buses like we're currently using.
Beth Douglas is asking, there is a curb cut on Curtis next to the park. Are there going to be parking lot spots added there? The reason for the curb cut is not obvious.
Oh, well, the curb were just designed as those low-profile curbs all the way along Curtis Street. So that's where they are. I'm looking out at cars parked there now.
Yeah.
There's an area that still needs to be painted in between the regular parking and the library ramp. And it will be all accessible.
That's what I've heard. It's for accessibility.
Right.
As soon as you have a curb, then someone who gets out of their car,
right,
if they've got
so the cut is not there, so you can get out of your car and you're on the sidewalk, right by the ramp for the library. So that's what those next 4 spots that will be painted will say. Right.
And there was someone I saw on St. Thomas Happenings. They posted a picture of a curb that had one of those accessible parking spots with also a curb cut, so you could go up. And I think they were complaining about the signs because it was like, handicap parking and then 2-hour parking only. It was very confusing. But for that sign, it means that this is a handicap parking space.
Right there is a handicap. The rest of it from that way, from the arrow, is all 2-hour parking. And at the end of each of the curb cuts in downtown, I think both ends of the curb cuts, but at least at that end of the curb cuts is a handicap spot. And there is a curb cut in the parking area at the end of it.
Yeah.
So when you or up onto the sidewalk. So that's what each of the spots downtown are. So I haven't been down to check the end that is finished yet. But in watching the parking areas near us, in the park that's being done now, it's exactly the same thing. There's at least one accessible parking spot in each side of the road in each block.
Yeah. And they'll be painted on the parking spots to designate that they are handicap parking. So Beth, you can park there. Lots of people have, and as long as it doesn't have that accessible parking paint on the sidewalk or a sign next to it, you're good to go.
Right. And so the question here is, as these are designated handicap parking only, right now they're designated no parking because there used to be a high curb there. And a driveway into the back parking lot.
And a fire hydrant.
Right. So we'll make the accessible ones available there. You get out of the car, accessibly out of the car, and the ramp up to the library. So the accessibility in the library is handled right near where your car is. So that's the intent. We'll get the road striping and the rest of the finishing touches done. But to answer your first question, the parking lot at the back of Westlake Evans Park, by where the mural is some 40 spots.
Yeah, there's a lot of parking.
I think we added more parking than there ever was at the back there. Now, some of it will be used, as I'm looking at now, some of it's used for overnight parking for some of our city trucks. The fellows come to work, or gentlemen and ladies come to work the next morning, and that's where their truck is, and they leave, and then the parking's available all day for people visiting the library or visiting the daycare center. Or Caps Off.
Or from the Vines, which is right next to
us.
us.
Or from the Vines, yes.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're coming to the end of our time here, but we have another great show. Really appreciate all the questions.
I hope you mean the show is almost over. I'm feeling extra old this week, so I'm not coming to the end of my time.
I certainly hope not.
Yeah. We're having too much fun.
Oh, okay. We're going to squeeze one more question in here.
Right.
Sorry, I know I have 1,001 questions. Are there any plans for public school expansion and provision for modern daycare facilities to accommodate the growing number of families coming to St. Thomas?
Well, of course, we have the new daycare center opening right here
behind us
on St. Catherine Street. That's the latest one the city has invested in. All of the rest need to come through the Ministry of Education also. And to answer both of your questions then is we've been trying for the last 5 years to get the Ministry of Education, not so much, but the Thames Valley District School Board to plan with us. That we know our community is growing. We know how many schools we might need in the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. And they keep using the formula of we can't build a school till we know how many people we have to go to.
Right.
And we say, well, that's wrong. How come the city is building all of its facilities knowing that these people are coming? But you have to wait till they've arrived in town and there's a million portables at all of our schools and we're short on daycare. So why don't we plan this ahead of time? We'll help you with it. We've got all of our strategic plan going. We'd be happy to do it with you. And next week at AMO, we're talking to the Minister of Education representative exactly about that.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks again, Mayor Joe.
Yes, thanks. Great to be here.
Great show. Thanks to all our viewers. Thanks to all our sponsors. And we will see you again next week.